Okay, we are going to go over square roots. We're going to throw a little bit of factoring in with it as well. This one is basically going to be for people who probably already know factoring, but I'm going to go over it just as well. So let's go ahead and get started. We're dealing with a radical number, like a square root of 4. We need to have an idea of what we're dealing with. When we're dealing with a square root, let's try to imagine a square here and cut that in half. The best way to deal with a radical is to factor it out of the radical. And I'll show you how that's done. First, you want to multiply, find the multiplication numbers to equal what's inside the radical. So we can say 2 times 2. And we want to do this until we get down to our prime number. You can go down further, and that would actually be your actual prime, but you don't have to do that. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to just eliminate any other ones, multiplying down to any other ones, and know that this is down to its prime. In order to bring it out of the radical, we have to have a pair, because this says a pair right here, two of those numbers that match in its prime, and we do for this radical number inside. So this actually equals to 1, 2. So therefore, when you're dealing with this problem, this is how you would solve it, and the answer would be 2, because we were able to pair a set of 2's and bring that out of the radical, and this is the actual answer for that. Now I have another page set up that goes over exactly how square roots work. A number times itself twice. Oops, we need to put our E back on there. Oops, I know why now. The pin's not working right. So, for example, we have a bunch of examples here, and I'm going to do the first one with you, and then I want you to pause the video and try it for yourself. So we take any number of our choice and times it by itself, and we found the square root. Okay, and that's what we're doing here. We're going to make these square roots. So I chose 2 here. 2 times 2. 2 times itself will actually make 4. And to reverse it again, you would have a pair of 2's here after multiplying it out through the factor tree, and the actual answer would be 2. Same, I'm not going to do this all the way down, but we're just going to learn what a square root is all the way down. And pause the video, try it for yourself, and then I'll work with you. 3 times itself makes a square root of 9. So if you were to multiply that out, it'd be 3 times 3, just what you see here. 4 times 4 makes the square root of 16. 5 times 5 makes the square root of 25. 6 times 6 makes the square root of 36, and so on. We got one more. And 7 times 7 makes the square root of 49. Now, I want to take this, we'll go ahead and we'll do 36. I'm going to show you one more time how we can factor this out. Now we know, since it's so simple, that the square root of 36 is going to be 6. But what if we want to factor it out? Well, some people might start off with bigger numbers, but if you remember the actual square root every time, it automatically comes to this pair. Once you get to a pair and there's no other prime numbers are numbers to break down. If there's just a single pair, you can stop multiplying your factor tree and just pull that 6 out. Here, I went ahead and set this example up for you. Okay, I had to erase a few things on there I had from the last thing. Now, as you can see, as I told you, when we're factoring out here, we're looking here, not here. This is just to give you an idea, just in case you needed it. Let's go ahead and find the square root of 4. So the best way to do it is to go ahead and learn to use that factor tree, okay? And then we have our pair of 2's. When we factor it out and we bring it out of the radical, because it has that pair, because there's a square, and that is your answer. And practice these, guys. That's important that you practice this sort of thing. Now, I have a right here I have a practice factoring tree for you if you're not familiar with that. Don't forget, with 2 you would only have, oops, it's not working, you would only have a 1 here, and we don't want to deal with that, so really it would just be a 2. It just stays like that. Factoring 4, we can do 2 times 2, and there's a pair. For 6, you can do 2 times 3. What happened here? That doesn't have any numbers that match, which means you cannot square that out. So if 6 was inside a radical and you tried to factor that out, there are no pairs of the same number anywhere, which means it stays inside that radical. When we're dealing with bigger numbers, the square root of 20, you're going to start dealing with even more prime numbers, and you're going to have leftovers. For example, with this 20, to factor it down, you use 2 times 10, and then you would factor that's down to its prime, so you would factor 10 down to its prime, which is 2 times 5. There's only one pair here of 2's. So, in this example, you would only be able to pull out the one pair of 2's. So that'd be one, I don't know why the pen keeps doing that. One pair of 2's. So you can only pull a 2 out. If you have a number that's remaining and it doesn't have a pair, because that's what we're looking for here, it will stay inside the radical. And so now you have this, and that is your answer. Okay, let's say 30. Pause the video and try to factor that out first and see if you understand it, and then I'll go over it with you. Okay, let's do 3 times 10. That is done. There's a prime number right there, but we can still factor the 10. So we're going to do 2 times 5. Okay, now there are no matching numbers here whatsoever. Since they're all just prime numbers, guess what? The answer for this is just going to be 30. Okay, now I'm going to do a couple more practice problems with you. Let's start off simple. Let me make a few here. Learn that pen. Okay, go ahead and factor this one. Right, I come up with a few problems. Let's see. 45, 81. That's good for now. Let's see what you got. Well, this one should have been simple. It's very small, and it's one of the first ones you learned. We need to find a number times itself that will go into this 4. And we can do that by factoring it in a tree. And we found a pair of 2's. So this will equal 2, and it comes out of the radical sign. Let me change this pen color real quick. What about 45 here? Let's see what we get. Let's do 5 times 9. 5 is at its prime, but we can still factor the 9. And we can do 3 times 3. Now, look at this closely. Circle your pairs, because remember, this is the square root of 45. And we're looking for numbers to pull out of that root. We have one pair of 3's here, which equals 1 3. So what we can do is we can pull the 3 out of the radical, but the 5 doesn't have a pair, so it remains inside. And this is your answer. What about 81? 9 times 9. Wow, we found a pair right off on a bigger number. You can factor this down farther if you want to, but there's no other numbers. It's the first pair, and that equals 9. Now, I have another video coming up on factoring and square roots. This is a quick learn video. If it's helpful for you, I hope it was. Please like and subscribe. It helps me get the material I need to keep teaching and sharing for all the people out there who want to reach their dreams. Thanks for watching.